Welcome into Cornhusker Connection. I'm Brandon Shanahan, joined as always by Tyler Sprinkle. Oh my gosh, this feels like the morning after Christmas. You get together with the boys, talk about all the toys you got. I mean, this is an amazing feeling. Nebraska 1-0 for the first time since before COVID, which feels insane to think
Criminal.
about it that way. But before we get into all the goodness that happened over the weekend, if you're watching this video, like, subscribe. It costs you nothing. It's amazing for us. It's good for the economy. Great stuff going on. But how you doing, Tyler? How's the weekend?
It was really fun. A little chaotic down in Lincoln, but for all the good reasons. Um, you talking about toys on Christmas Day. Nebraska got a few new toys, and it was really fun to watch.
In the first, and I mean, hopping on all the new toys they got, I think, obviously the big part of the conversation is Dylan Raiola joining the team, but I don't think enough's being talked about how much upgraded this wide receiver core is. It's basically a whole new room out there.
Yeah, it was. It was cool to see. Well, let's start. I have things I want to talk about in my mind. If I don't do it this way, then I'm going to forget. So
Let's do it.
bear with me. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was our special teams. Holy shit, we can return punts and
Dude,
kicks.
I've never been so juiced at like a 14-yard punt return.
Yeah, it was beautiful. A couple of those started in enemy territory. So love that. Short fields make for quick touchdowns. It was cool to see IGC back there. I was a little sad that he didn't play more wide receiver because I think he's good, but it's tough because you do have Isaiah Nair, Jamal Banks, even I keep calling him Ashford, Carter Nelson. He got out there quite a bit, a lot more than I thought he was going to. Seeing Ja'Cory Barney get involved. I don't. Malachi was out there, but not very much. I don't think he caught any passes. I don't know. So many guys caught passes. I'm getting mixed up on who
Yeah,
caught
there's 108 players
eight.
that saw the
Yeah,
field.
that's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was fun. All the running backs did well. I feel for Dowdle because that fumble took him out of the game, and he was playing really well before that. So that stunk. But it was a calculated plan by Dowdle to get the safety, something that we haven't gotten since, I don't know, let's just say before COVID, because I don't know the exact date when we last had one. You and I were talking about that yesterday. Yeah, it's just fun watching these guys run around and how awesome it is to see these guys catch these balls because Dylan can throw it perfectly every time. But if you don't have the guys back there to catch it, then it's pointless, right? So it was cool to see that. Fedoni tight end screens are just weird to me. I don't get it. He's not that kind of player, so it was weird to see them do that 3 times. One of them worked a little bit, and the other two didn't. It was fun, just
Mhm.
a blast to watch. I love seeing Dylan up there checking into plays, checking out of plays, checking into plays, finding the right play, having that play work out really well. Um, it was cool. He took a big hit, got up right away. Love to see that. It was great. Offensive line played really well. Defensive line played really well. Um, Corners. If we weren't about to play Colorado next week, I'd be like, it's takes a little bit of game action to get ready or get back into step. But you're not going to have that against Colorado. Those guys can fly around, so that makes me a tiny bit nervous. But I'm hoping maybe it was just one of those things where, oh, this is UTEP. It's not going to be that hard and kind of come out flat-footed. So we'll see with that. But all around, great team win.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I thought I kind of had the same thing, especially early on, because when Dylan marches right down the field, they score that touchdown. I thought this is great, this is awesome. And then when UTEP gets that touchdown, it's kind of like, oh no, here we go again. This is
Yeah.
exactly what those previous years have looked like. Where even if we come out, the first scripted drive's awesome. Even if we get a stop at first, that's kind of the moment where things start to turn. So, I mean, for that to be not only the last points that they scored throughout the game, but they after that, at least for the rest of the first half, they didn't snap the ball inside the 50-yard line, so they weren't
Yeah.
able to do anything. defensively. But and we'll talk a lot more about Colorado. But I had that same thought. I'm like, boy, that's that's a tough look with
A little concerning. Yeah.
little concerning. But I also, well, one of my big points is I think it's okay to have a couple of those against Colorado because you're going to get toasted by those guys
Yeah.
every now and then. It's just how you respond back, how you do everything else well.
Yeah. And I saw your tweet about the kicking game or the lack thereof. And I was thinking the same thing during the game. I would like to see more field goals attempted just to see what we have. But I think that it was a calculated decision to do all those things by Matt Rule because it's like
Mhm.
you have that mindset. Like, we're going to go out there and we're going to kill this team. Fuck those field goals. We're going to go out there and score touchdowns. And I like that. Did see Alvano kick one. It looked good. I mean, it was shorter than an extra point, I think, but we'll take it just the same. It was cool. It was good to see. The first kickoff by us, though, going out of bounds was tough.
That was tough.
Just straight out of bounds, had no shot. But it was fun. Yeah, I can't. The atmosphere was fantastic. People were loud. People were excited. Like I was telling you, I'd never had such an issue getting into the stadium before. Um, and I guess we were kind of late. I think we tried to start going in around 30 minutes before the game started. Um, but as we were walking around the stadium, people were lined up like 2 hours before the game started. So people were ready. People were juiced up. The buzz is back. As you walk through, people are chanting, people are cheering. Um, it's a beautiful scene in Lincoln on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's the next thing I want to talk about because you frequent Husker games a lot more than I do. I mean, I've been to one in the last like 5 years or so.
Yeah.
So what was this? Was there more buzz yet Saturday than typical?
So that's the thing with Nebraska games is there's always quite a good amount of buzz, and that's just who we are, the fan base. I think you get up for even those little games. Like last year, I went to Louisiana Tech, and I went to Michigan. In both of those games, the atmosphere felt the same. Um, maybe that's because we were expected to beat Louisiana Tech, and we weren't expected to beat Michigan, so the buzz was about the same for both. But
Mm.
there was. And maybe it was just my feelings. Like I was saying it all week. This is the start of the dynasty. I get to watch the start of this dynasty happen in person. And it's wonderful. Maybe it was more so me that felt more energy than normal. But I thought it was just buzzing, electric factory. As Trevor Murphy would say, the buzz was there. It was great.
I love it here. All right. Well, I mean, actually, looking at the football here, of course, Dylan was great. If I had to give him a grade, it would absolutely be an A, just because I got to see everything that I wanted from him and nothing more. I got to see him, flash the deep ball. I got to see him control the offense. I saw him. He had that really cool play where he checked into a run that turned out to be a 35-yard dash. I saw him, and probably the most important thing was the composure. So on the very first drive, it's 2nd and 30. I mean, my gosh, if it's 1st and 15 with the quarterback room last year, I mean,
Yeah.
we're toast. It's over. Forget
Yeah.
about it.
We're running 3 times, maybe picking up 5 yards and punting.
Yeah, it might be better off to just punt on 2nd down than to risk, Heinrich Harburg or Jeff Sims doing something stupid. But 2nd and 30, he kept his composure through like a 20-yard dart down the middle of the field, wide open. And I mean, just the composure, it always, for the first time in forever, it feels like every time he touches the ball, we're going to score.
Yeah, it was. I felt that same way. I would give Dylan an A-. I think there was some throws that he definitely missed, um, and some guys that were wide open that he just didn't see until too late and still try to
Mm.
throw it. Things like that. Against a better team, maybe that becomes an issue. Maybe turnover there, but um, also maybe that's a testament to how good the receivers are as defenders as well. Like they're able to recognize that they're not going to have a good shot at catching this ball. So let's make sure it hits the ground and not ends up in UTEP's hands. I thought his presence in the pocket was pretty solid, albeit the line was really good on Saturday. Only one sack, which I think Dylan should have probably gotten the ball out quicker. Um, but I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him be a little more composed. Isn't the right word. Slow down a little bit, maybe is the right
Yeah.
thing I'm going to say on the bootlegs and stuff. I think he was rushing those a little bit, but all things that are very coachable, very fixable. Um, and I maybe this was something that they said like don't run, like stay in the pocket, throw the ball away, don't run, don't take hits. But I'd like to see him be a little more mobile in the sense of if it's there, take it. There was granted, I think that this ended up being like a 15-yard reception, but there was one on. Oh, it was the cool play where he starts to kind of go up, step up in the pocket, and then he turns to the right and
Oh my gosh,
runs
that
it.
was so sweet.
But he had a wide open hole to pick up the first down, and instead he threw it. I'm kind of nitpicking there. Again, it turned into a great play anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But I'd like to see him just pick up that first down because I think it was like 3rd and 8 or something like that.
Mhm.
Uh, just things. I mean, if you want to be hypercritical, you certainly can about anybody. So those are just things that I'd like to see a little more put together.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And I mean, a lot of those things that I feel like is easy to expect with them making his first game. Something that'll probably bite him later throughout the
Yeah,
season, but so far so good. I was also very interested to see how the running back rotation would look. Not exactly how I would have pictured it. It was Ramir Johnson who started off the game, then Dante Dowdell who got it was basically RB2 roles. And this was another thing that I appreciated because he looked really good. He was averaging 7 yards a carry, had
yeah,
that 12, had that big touchdown to start it off, and then he fumbles,
yeah.
and then we don't see him again.
Dude, the vibe in the stadium was here, and then it was lower than the floor after that. Everybody around me, we're all just like, "Oh no, not this shit again!" Like here we fucking go. Um, then Ty just comes in and just ruins a play, just absolutely fucking destroys that play. Um, and it was wonderful. It was great to see. I wonder too if the defense was like, "Oh my god, here we go again! Like this bullshit. We got to carry this damn team on our back again." But then we march right back down after the safety and get another touchdown. So take that all day.
Absolutely. I mean, it worked out very well. And I don't know. I'm obviously not in the huddle or on the sidelines with these conversations, but I didn't get that vibe whatsoever from the defense. In fact, one of the notes I had on the defense was that it seemed like they just played at a different speed than I've seen them play at a long
Yeah.
time. Like
Yeah. They
such a
were out there.
high energy. I mean, they were just rolling around.
Yes. They were out there gliding around. Looked like they were having fun, just flying, just doing whatever the hell they wanted to. Um, and I know we're obviously Nebraska fans, we're a Nebraska podcast, but I also want to note that UTEP's a lot better than they were last year.
They are.
I feel like they kind of dumbed down the defense for this game because they were so worried about the defensive line. A lot of quick screens, a lot of quick passes, a lot of counter running, a lot of things to slow down that defense. Um, I'd like to because we saw it from Colorado a little bit in their first game where they were running that kind of offense, and that becomes an issue with their guys because they're so fast and so
Mhm.
just agile that if we don't get out there faster and cover those a little bit better than we did on Sunday or Saturday, I think could be an issue. Um, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. But just to circle back, Dante Dowdell, Matt Rule made it a point of emphasis like, hey, if you turn the football over, you can't play on this team. So I think it was a bummer because he was playing well, and you don't want to ruin his season because he fumbled the ball one time. But I'm pleased to see that those guys are being held accountable for the turnovers since that was such a bugaboo there. But I think he'll be back in the rotation because he did look really good. So I'm really happy with him, and I didn't expect him to come out and be RB2.
Yeah, especially after the game, Rule said that he was running back, the fourth running back, all of camp, and then really turned up.
Hmm.
And again, you saw it in the game; like he played great. Just one thing, and I also love the fact that Buford, like I forget exactly what happened, but Rule was going to go lay into Dowdle or something like that, and Marcus Buford just turned him at Rule and said, "I got it, coach. Like I handled it. I let him know." You love to see that leadership. You love to see the guys holding each other accountable for these things. It's just great. It seems like the culture there, everybody's bought in and everybody's ready to fucking win. They're sick of losing. I love it.
I think it's great. I think this core of, I mean, this is a very experienced team with a roster full of freshmen. I think they have like 80 freshmen on the roster, something obscene. And so not only do you get, this group of leaders who are going to come out and they're going to ball out. These guys are, there's NFL players on this team, but also seeing the way that they're operating. And we got a good look at it with the Chasing 3 docuseries. The way that they're leading this team is not standard across the board, not something that's been in the program for a long time. And so now you get a whole group of freshmen who get to see how it's done and hopefully get to see, what it leads to.
Yeah, and again, it feels different. It feels so much
It feels so
different.
different.
Feels better. Like you don't see guys walking around after that fumble with their head down. Everybody's jazzed up. It feels different, and it's hard to quantify like what feels different, but you could just tell. Like if you've been around the team for a few years, you can just tell.
Yeah, and I think you hit on it early. I mean, after that fumble, boy, I could just imagine that team just a year ago. I mean, that was a really good defense, but there was kind of this energy like, oh, we get it. We got it, and it seemed like they were playing on their heels a lot, where that wasn't the case at any point last year, even after the fumble, even, after that touchdown pass by UTEP.
Yeah,
So everywhere, and that's what's so hard as somebody who spends so much time online talking about people who, are like, oh, Nebraska, oh, whatever, they're back again, whatever. Like, it's different. You just don't see it yet. I
yeah,
do.
absolutely.
And one last pet peeve about that: this team is objectively better than it was last year,
Oh,
and that
so much
team
better.
was objectively better than the year before, and that
Yes.
team won more games than the year before. So we're right. Nebraska.
Yeah.
This is going to be the fourth year in a row they win more games. We've been right this entire time. So I just want to throw that
Yes.
out there.
Yeah. And going back to the 108 guys played on Saturday. I
Unbelievable.
love that. And I love the fact that we were able to, and I forget his name, the third quarterback on our roster,
Jalen Gramstead.
Gramstead, him getting in and him just talking about it after the game, like this was a dream come true.
That's
And
so special.
you never see like teams bringing their third string guys unless it's like you're up 75 points or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so cool that Rule recognizes like this is so important for this kid, and let's make it happen for him. Like it's so awesome that their hard work is being recognized by getting on the field in the first game.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it's so cool that because it feels like for the first time, like, okay, they took care of business, and now, all right, let's have some fun. Let's get Gramstead out there, and he played quite a bit. I mean, Harburg got out there for 3 or 4 series, maybe, but then Gramstead had the whole fourth quarter and then some, so he got to a lot of playing as well. And like we said, all 108 players on the field, and I mean, we got to see Grant Bricks out there. We got to see a ton of Carter Nelson. We got to see, boy, I'm trying to find his name, the German fella.
Oh yeah,
He even got out there. By the way, he's a tank. I mean, I don't know if you saw that picture. He's he's going to be a
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Got to see a lot of Willis McGahee. Vincent Schaefer's was out there. Yeah, it's fun to see all these guys get to play, especially in the first game.